going up this pretty steep hill. It's a proper leg burner, but it's great. I'm thinking about going camping tonight up on top of this hill up here. It's awesome, you get some amazing views around. Beginning of my video tomorrow, I'll leave some photos and you can have a look. But yeah, I like doing these videos. I like doing these sort of videos. It's a bit different to everybody else that just seem to have a studio, or they do it in their, like I was doing, just doing it in their living room. It's nice to get out and about and have you guys come on the walk with me, because that's kind of what you're doing. Anyway, so I watched Carl Benjamin's video on Sargon of Akkad, Carl Benjamin, his video on the Reform Party's manifesto that they've released, well, that Nigel Farage has released. And Carl was like, I think Carl's a little bit more optimistic about them than I am. When I look at the Reform Party, when I look at Nigel Farage, I don't just look at what they're saying. You know, I've got to take in consideration their past, Nigel Farage's past, and their ability to actually deliver what they're saying. And given all that, to me, it doesn't matter what they say in their manifesto. I just don't think they've got the ability to deliver any of it. I don't. To me, I think it's just words, and that's it. It's like all the other mainstream parties when they deliver their manifestos. It's just to get people to vote for them. They've got no intentions of actually implementing half the stuff that they're saying they're going to do. But to me, the most important part is it's not saying that you're going to do it, it's telling me how you're going to do it. And that is sadly lacking from the Reform Party and the things that they do. Case in point, before the local elections, Nigel Farage came out, made this grand statement about, yeah, we're going to deport all the illegal immigrants. We're going to create a minister for deportations, which people have quite rightly said in the comments of my videos is just pure bureaucracy. It's just adding more to an already over-bloated government. All you need to do is make the Home Office do its job, which is what every other country does. You detain and you deport. You don't need a Minister of Deportations. It already exists. It's called the Border Force. It's called our judiciary. It's called the law. It's illegal to enter our country by any means via none other than a proper route of entry. You must have a passport. You must have ID to enter this country. You must enter through an authorised port of entry. Coming across on a dinghy isn't one of those ways. It's illegal. So all we have to do is say to the people that are coming across, if you come across on the dinghies, then you will have no right to claim asylum in this country. You must claim asylum via legal means. All you have to do, I mean, if they've got the money to spend on these gangs that get them across the channel, they've got money to buy a cheap plane ticket across the channel and come here legally. I think the cheapest flight is about 70 quid. They can get that money quite easily and come via legitimate means. But what do we see people doing? We see them dumping their passports in the sea, and Nigel Farage himself says he's witnessed this. So we can't identify who they are and that sort of thing. So basically, we use the systems that are already in place to deport these people. It's already there. We just have to make the people who are in charge of those institutions do their job. And if they don't do their job, well, then you replace them. And this is where Nigel Farage and the Reform Party are going to fall short, because they simply don't have the strength to make the people in these establishments, in these institutions, in these government institutions, do their job. If they can't stand up to the mainstream media and they U-turn on policy, or they get rid of candidates simply because of bad press and don't stand by them because they're weak, they've got absolutely no chance of doing anything regarding the civil service. They won't stand up to them. They won't stand up to them all. Look, recently they're already getting rid of the councillors that were elected in the local elections because of tweets they've done, or not just tweets they've done, but because they've liked tweets, because they've reposted tweets that are basically saying everything the Reform Party is supposed to stand for. But because it's getting bad press, Zai Yusuf is getting rid of them. They're not the party to do what needs to be done. They're not. And I'm totally convinced of this. I said this yesterday in yesterday's video. They don't have the leadership. The leadership is weak. Nigel Farage is weak. Zai Yusuf is weak. Richard Tice is weak. Lee Anderson is weak. There's simply nobody within that party that can do the job that we need doing. There isn't. There really isn't. Right, so that's enough of bashing. That's my daily bashing of the Reform Party. But I'm just saying how it is, guys. You might not like what I've got to say, but it's the truth. You know, I don't judge these people on what they say. I judge them on their actions and past actions. And the Reform Party just falls short. It falls short every time on that. Right, so as you know, I covered that story about the elderly gentleman who was in the special constabulary down in Kent when he had the 6 officers just turn up on his doorstep, and they arrested him. They arrested him for malicious communications, for a tweet that he sent that they interpreted, and I mean this seriously, they interpreted it as being anti-Semitic. Yet when you put it into context, you realise, and you've got an ounce of sense and your IQ isn't below 1, you realise that he was actually defending Jews in what he was saying. And this was all because he decided to pick an argument with a pro-Palestine activist. Now there's more to the story. So I read more of the story, and apparently the police officers, whilst going around his house, and we've heard the comments they made about his reading selection, saying, oh, it's a bit Brexity. They looked at his wife's shopping list, and they saw on the shopping list bleach, silver foil, rubber gloves, and they thought this was suspicious. Now, if these police officers had actually, you know, done a little bit of investigation, you know, actually police work, they would have known that his wife was a hairdresser. So foil, bleach and rubber gloves on a shopping list is probably quite normal for a hairdresser. This is the state of our police at the minute. They're an absolute joke. An absolute joke. And not only that, this gentleman's daughter apparently died in Ibiza. A drunk driver hit her and killed her. And these police officers rummaged through this man's possessions, rummaged through photographs of his dead daughter, and sarcastically said, oh, that's sad. This is the level of professionalism that these people have. They're not police officers, they're activists. They're activists with a warrant card. They're malicious, they're evil, and they're politicised. And they really need to be, there needs to be a massive overhaul of the police. And this is something else that the Reform Party doesn't seem to mention. On its highest priority seems to be tax relief for companies. and, you know, for the population. Yeah, that's good, but it's not really a priority, is it? It's not really a priority that's the number one thing that everybody wants to be done. The number one thing is for immigration to be tackled, both legal and illegal. Like Carl Benjamin said, there needs to be a total freeze on immigration. It needs to go to minus numbers regarding that. So no net zero, no one in, one out, nobody in, until we get negative numbers on immigration. And I would say for at least 10 years, like Carl Benjamin says, so we can get rid of this excess population that shouldn't be here. There are, like he said, there's way too many people in this country for our infrastructure to cope. That's what needs to happen. So the Reform Party's immigration policy is shit. It's not going to do anything in the long run. Look at those views. Look at that. So that's not going to do anything. The Reform Party aren't going to tackle that. No immigration. That's what we need to relieve pressure on us. Anyway, back to the old guy and the police and that kind of thing. It's like, then obviously they arrested him, and don't forget this was 6 police officers in his house rummaging through all his private, personal, you know, property. They then arrested him because apparently he admitted guilt to malicious communications. He got a caution because he was scared, because apparently he was going to see his other daughter in Australia and he didn't want anything to affect his ability to do that. So that's why he admitted guilt to that. So basically it was coerced. He was forced into doing this when he shouldn't have admitted guilt. And apparently the free speech union has stepped in, and the police have now backed off. And apparently he's going to sue the police force for what they did, and quite rightly so. They need to be sued. But like I said in my video yesterday, it's us, the taxpayer, that have to fork out more tax when these police officers, and I say that in the very loosest terms I can say, police officers, when they mess up, we have to pay out. So we as the general public should be demanding, absolutely demanding, the highest standards in our police officers. We need meritocracy. We need people who are good at the job. They're the people that need to be hired as police officers. Not based on skin colour, not based on sexual orientation or their gender, because those are rubbish reasons to employ somebody. That says nothing about their ability to do the job. Nothing whatsoever. So that's what we need to base it on. Meritocracy. Your merit, how good you are, your character, and how good you are at the job should get you in to any position that you apply for. Get rid of all diversity, equity and inclusion rubbish. All the wokery needs to be purged. But the Reform Party, that's not even in their manifesto. You know, the key things we need reforming, they're not really talking about. They're not really talking that much about immigration. They put that way down the list. They keep talking about net zero and all the other talking points. And it's like, you're not talking about the key issues that are affecting us, the people, the working class. We don't care about net zero, really. You know, what we do care about is the fact that we've got thousands of undocumented illegal immigrants parked in hotels all around this country, in our communities, putting our daughters, our wives, our families at risk on a daily basis. And you're not talking about it. You don't see that as a priority for us. And this is where that disconnect comes, because the Reform Party is very much of the old school Tories. It really is. There's always been a disconnect via class when you talk about the political class. They've got this disconnect. They don't understand how things affect us on the ground, the working class, because they've never been through it themselves. They've never had to go from paycheck to paycheck, from hand to mouth all the time. They've never had to do that because they've always had the money where they're comfortable, and they've never had to face hardships. Whereas we, the working class, have. We want these people removed from our country that are taking up precious jobs and that are driving our wages down. I mean, me in the security industry, you know, I'm lucky if I can get a job in security because I'm automatically back of the queue because of diversity, equity and inclusion policy. And then on top of that, if I do get a job, then it's guaranteed I'm probably just going to be on minimum wage. And minimum wage at the minute isn't covering the bills. I know security officers that are doing security, they're doing the doors at the weekend, and they're working a third job just to put food on the table. And that's just to pay the bills and hopefully the rent. The wages at the minute just don't reflect the cost of living crisis or anything like that. And the Reform Party isn't talking about any of that. Yeah, fair enough, if they get in power, they said they're going to increase the threshold to 20,000 before tax. But that's not helping us now, is it? They talk about opposing the immigrants being put in private rented homes at taxpayer expense, which is good. But none of this solves any issues for us. Their overall policies on immigration don't solve the issues for us. There's still going to be thousands of illegal immigrants coming to this country, legal and legal, coming to this country. And they never talk about how they're going to implement any of this. What's their plan to get these things done? They say they're going to do it, but there's no plan behind it to say, yeah, this is how we're going to get it done. This is how we're going to do this. There's no plan at all. And that's what worries me. It's like it's just empty words. It's just vile. It's just like, you know, just fucking vapid, nonsensical rubbish. Just to, you know, keep us hooked and hope that we vote for them. Anyway, I've ranted enough. I'm running out of things to say now. So yeah, have a good day. I'm sorry about not doing the live stream last night. Technical difficulties with that. It just wouldn't stream for some reason. I still haven't fixed it, so I'll let you know. Obviously a live stream will appear if I'm going to live stream. It's always at 8 o'clock at night, so look out for that. Well, thank everybody for liking, subscribing, sharing my videos. Share the hell out of all my videos, because I've hit an impasse. It seems that YouTube is now limiting my videos. They're restricting my videos. They're shadow banning me again. They're doing the same with Dino Bane. I was having a massive surge, a massive growth in my channel, and then all of a sudden it just dropped off. And I think it's because I was talking about communists and socialism, and we all know that YouTube is made up of those type of people, and I think that's why they've throttled back my channel yet again. So like, share, subscribe, share my content around. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to click that little bell icon, because that notifies you when a video is coming out. Apparently people aren't getting notified of my videos. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I shall see you all in the next video. This is Vindicator signing off.